Welcome to Ephphatha Reflections from Kadosh, Marian Ministries. Our theme today is Thanksgiving in Prayer. In the Gospel of John, chapter 11, verse 41 to 42, Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me." My dear brothers and sisters, all those who have faith pray in one way or another. One interesting but important question about our prayer life is, how effective are our prayers? Are our prayers answered? It is only natural that at certain times we may find that our prayers are not getting answered. What happens then? Anxieties pile up in our lives, especially in difficult times like the COVID scenario we are in. When shall the world be free? When shall we go back to normal life? We have only questions and questions, but no answers. Not even any distant possibility of an answer. The Word of God tells us in letter to Philippians chapter 4 verse 6, "Do not be anxious about anything." A real challenge to us Christians. Do not be anxious about anything. It is an almost impossible thing for us, especially from the background of uncertainties and troubles in our life. But we should bear in mind that the Word of God will never ask of us anything that is impossible. Do not be anxious about anything. It is the Word of God. Therefore, it is possible for us to be free from anxieties and worries. The Word of God continues in Philippians chapter 4 verse 6, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God." My dear brothers and sisters, today the Word of God is revealing to us the secret of effective prayer. Jesus, the supreme model of prayer, is teaching us how to pray effectively. In the prayers of Jesus, we see a unique method of praying. We see always a confident expression of thanks in his prayers. In the Gospel of John, we see the miracle of Jesus raising Lazarus to life. In the Gospel of John chapter 11 verse 41 to 42, Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me." And then Jesus said in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out of the tomb. I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me. My dear brothers and sisters, Jesus is giving thanks to God the Father even before making the actual prayer. I thank you that you have heard me. Here lies the secret of making our prayers effective. We see this confident expression of Jesus almost every time he prays. Before the multiplication of loaves, we see in the Gospel of John chapter 6 verse 11, Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated. Again, during the Last Supper, we see in the Gospel of Luke chapter 22 verse 17, after taking the cup, he gave thanks and said, Take it and drink. The Gospel of Luke chapter 22 verse 19. He took bread, gave thanks and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body given up for you." Thanksgiving was a very essential feature of the prayers of Jesus. Therefore, give thanks before making the prayer or before the prayer is answered. This is the way that Jesus, the Master of Prayer, is showing us. We normally express our thanks after getting our requests and prayers granted. But when we thank someone for a request before the request is granted, it shows our deep confidence that our request will be granted. The Lord is looking for prayers that would come out of such confident hearts. Thank the Lord and make the prayer. I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me. A new way of prayer, a sure way of making our prayers effective. We saw in the letter to Philippians chapter 4 verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. St. Paul understood the importance of praying with thanksgiving. This is the way to be free from anxieties. Thanking someone is not easy if we have anxieties in us. Thanksgiving is the sign of confidence in us. Confident prayers will always be answered by God. My dear brothers and sisters, the Word of God is challenging us today to explore the new meaning and scope of thanksgiving in our prayer life. The Lord is keeping in store for us a treasure of blessings in thanksgiving and prayer. Let us continue to thank the Lord. Let us never refrain from thanking Him. Psalm number 100, verses 4 and 5. The Word of God is inviting us. Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him and praise His name. For the Lord is good, and His love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Amen. This is Johny Kuriakose from Kadosh, Marian Ministries. Thank you.